The first time I saw Lieutenant Maya Reeves, I thought she was going to die. Within the week, no scratch that I gave her 3 days maximum, she walked into the Galactic Defense Initiative training complex with all the confidence of someone who had absolutely no idea what they were getting into. Her species, humans, had just been accepted into the coalition, and apparently someone in administration thought it would be hilarious to send one of their soldiers to our elite combat academy. You know, the place where warriors from 12 different species trained, the same academy with a 40% washout rate. That one. I am Krell, by the way, Vexian. 8 feet tall, 4 arms, exoskeleton that can deflect plasma rounds. My people have been perfecting combat techniques since before humans figured out fire was hot, so yeah, when this tiny soft-skinned creature showed up wearing their ridiculous camouflage uniform, I may have laughed out loud for a solid minute. She just stood there, blinking those weird little eyes at me. Something funny, she asked. Oh, she could talk, how delightful. Everything, I replied, switching to Galactic Standard. You are maybe 5'12" ft tall, your skin looks like it would tear if I sneezed on it. Do you even have an exoskeleton under there, or are you truly just meat wrapped in cloth? Several other trainees had gathered now. There was Thorax, a Mandor with mandibles that could crush steel, Xyla from Octavia Prime, tentacles rippling with enough muscle to strangle a battle mech. Even Grunt, yes, that is actually his name, a Kraken whose species considered wrestling asteroid chunks a leisure activity. We were all staring at this human like she was a particularly amusing hologram. Maya smiled, not a friendly smile, mind you, the kind of smile that should have warned me if I had been paying attention. Instead of being an arrogant fool, I suppose you will find out, she said simply, then walked past me toward the registration desk. Thorax clicked his mandibles in what passes for laughter among his kind. 5 credits, says she. Cries before lunch, 10, says she. Requests transport home by evening meal. Xyla added, her translator making her burbling sound almost cheerful. Grunt just grunted. He was consistent. At least the Academy's training master. Commander Vorth was a decorated Selenite veteran who had survived the Craven Rebellion. His crystalline body bore scars from 100 battles, each one a story of survival against impossible odds. He did not tolerate weakness, and he definitely did not tolerate humans who thought they belonged in his complex. So Vorth's voice resonated through his crystalline form, making the entire room vibrate slightly. Earth sends us a gift, how generous. Maya stood at attention, hands clasped behind her back. She did not flinch, did not look away, just stood there, breathing. Sir, Lieutenant Maya Reeves reporting. For training, sir. Vorth circled her slowly, his faceted eyes catching light from multiple angles. Do you know why you are here, human? To learn, sir. Wrong. Boar stopped directly in front of her. You are here because someone in Coalition Command has a sense of humor. You are here to fail spectacularly so that your species learns humility before requesting advanced military integration. Okay, even I thought that was harsh, but Vor had a point. Humans were the newest species in the Coalition, barely 50 years past their first warp drive test. They had no enhanced biology, no natural weapons, no psionic abilities. They were just well squishy. Maya's jaw tightened. Slightly, just a fraction, but she kept her voice level. With respect, sir, I intend to prove otherwise. The entire room went silent. You did not ever contradict Vorth. Vorth leaned closer, his voice dropping to a resonant whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the complex. Tomorrow morning, 600 hours standard combat assessment fail, and you go home. On the next transport. Understood? Yes, sir. Dismissed. That evening I found myself in the common area with the other trainees. We were supposed to be reviewing combat forms, but honestly we were all talking about the human. She will not last, Thorax insisted, practicing strikes against a training dummy that sparked and sizzled with each impact. Vor will pair her with someone experienced. She will be unconscious in seconds, Zyla rippled thoughtfully, manipulating 3 data tablets simultaneously with different tentacles. I reviewed her species file. Humans have something called adrenaline. Their bodies produce a chemical that temporarily enhances strength and suppresses pain. Fascinating, but ultimately insufficient. Grunt, think tiny human. Brave, Grunt offered. This was practically a speech from him. I was polishing my blade, a ceremonial weapon from my home world that had been in my family for 6 generations. Brave does not matter when you are broken. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. The next morning, the entire trainee cohort assembled in Combat Arena 7. This was the standard assessment area, a circular platform 50 m across, surrounded by energy barriers to contain the violence. Medical drones hovered around the perimeter, ready to extract anyone who got hurt too badly. Maya arrived exactly on time, wearing a simple training uniform. No armor, no visible weapons, just cloth and determination. Vor's voice boomed across the arena. Lieutenant Reeves will face a standard Level 3 combat assessment. As per tradition, she may choose her opponent from the assembled trainees. This was actually somewhat merciful. Most species chose someone they thought they could defeat, or at least someone who would not permanently injure them. It was an old tradition meant to establish baseline skill. Maya looked across the assembled warriors, her gaze passed over Zyla, then Thorax, then landed on me. Oh no. I choose Krellel, she announced clearly. Every translator in the room processed that simultaneously, and multiple species registered shock in their own unique ways. I felt my secondary hearts begin pumping faster. This human had chosen me. I was ranked 3rd in our entire cohort. I had 16 years of combat training. My blade technique had been praised by Vorth himself. Are you certain? Vorth asked, and there might have been the tiniest hint of surprise in his resonant voice. Krellel is highly skilled. I am certain, sir. Vorth gestured toward the arena. Then let us begin. I stepped onto the platform, blade in my primary right hand. I had decided to be merciful, knock her unconscious quickly. Let the medical drones handle the rest. No need to cause permanent damage to someone so obviously outmatched. Maya stepped onto the opposite side, empty-handed. Wait, do you not want a weapon? I asked. She smiled again, that same smile from yesterday. I thought we would start with something simple. You have a training sword, right? Not your fancy glowing one. I blinked, all 3 eyes in sequence. Was she mocking me? Vorth tossed a standard training blade into the arena. It clattered near my feet. I picked it up with my secondary left hand sheathing my ceremonial weapon. Fine, if she wanted to be humiliated by training equipment, so be it. Begin, Borth commanded. I moved forward, not rushing, but advancing with proper form, footwork, solid blade, positioned for a standard disabling strike. I would tap her shoulder, the match would end, and we could all move on with our day. Maya did not move. She just stood there watching me approach. With those strange binocular eyes, I closed the distance. 3M, 2M. I drew back the training sword for a controlled strike. Then she moved. I did not even see how she did it. One moment I was attacking, the next moment I was off balance. My secondary left arm twisted at an angle that should not have been possible, and the training sword was no longer in my grip. Maya held the weapon, now examining it curiously. These are reinforced Durac steel, right? She asked conversationally. Supposed to withstand pretty much anything short of a plasma torch. I was still processing what had just happened. How did she disarm me? Yes, I managed to say, resetting my stance. Standard coalition military grade. Neat. Then she gripped the training sword with both hands and just casually folded it in half. The sound it made was horrible. Metallic shriek mixed with a grinding crunch. The sword, which was designed to survive full force impacts from species 3 times stronger than humans, just bent like it was made of soft clay. Maya held up the now U-shaped training weapon. Whoops, I am so sorry. I guess I do not know my own strength sometimes. You probably want this back. She tossed the ruined sword at my feet. The entire arena was silent except for the hum of energy barriers. I looked down at the destroyed weapon. I looked up at Maya. I looked at Vorth, whose crystalline body had gone completely still. How? I finally asked. Is that possible? Maya shrugged, rolling her shoulders like she was working out a kink. Want to try again? I promise I will be more careful with the next one. Something in my brain was not processing this correctly. Humans were weak. Everyone knew this. Their files said so. The biological assessments confirmed it. They had no enhancement, no augmentations, just baseline organic tissue. And yet this human had just casually destroyed military-grade equipment like it was made of paper. Reeves, Vor's voice cut through my confusion. Explain. Maya turned toward the commander, still perfectly relaxed. Sir, I'm not sure what needs explaining. You told me to face a combat assessment. I chose an opponent. He had a weapon. Now he does not. You destroyed coalition property. I did offer to be more careful next time, sir. I could see Vor's internal light flickering, which happened when Selenites were experiencing strong emotions, anger, maybe confusion. Definitely. That is not. You cannot simply. The structural integrity of those blades is. Vorth seemed to be having difficulty forming complete thoughts. Those require industrial equipment to bend. Maya nodded slowly. That does sound inconvenient. Do you want me to pay for it? I can fill out a form or whatever. Thorax's mandibles were hanging open. Zyla had gone completely pale, which for an Octavian meant all her chromatophores had contracted simultaneously. Grunt was making a sound I had never heard before, somewhere between wheezing and choking. I was still staring at the folded training sword. Krello forth. Snap. Do you yield? Did I yield against an unarmed opponent who had just demonstrated the ability to fold metal with her bare hands, against someone who moved faster than my trained reflexes could track? My translator, struggled with the words. I believe that would be wise, sir. Match concluded. Vor announced, though his voice sounded strained. Reeves, remain in the arena. Everyone else dismissed for mourning. Meal. Nobody moved. I said dismissed. We fled. Okay, fled is a strong word. We evacuated in an orderly fashion that just happened to be very quick. In the common area, nobody spoke for a solid 5 minutes. We just sat there processing. Finally, Zyla broke the silence. I need to review her species file again. That will not help, Thorax said quietly. I already memorized it. Humans average 1.6 times their body weight in lifting capacity. Their bone structure is relatively fragile. Their muscle density is unremarkable. Then how? I demanded. How did she do that? Grunt made a thoughtful sound. Maybe human file wrong. We all considered this. Or Zyla suggested. Slowly, several tentacles twitching nervously. Maybe we do not understand what human baseline actually means. Back in the arena, through the observation window, we could see Vor and Maya talking. Well, Vor was gesturing emphatically with all 4 of his primary limbs, his crystalline body flashing different colors. Maya just stood there, occasionally nodding, looking completely unbothered. This was going to be a very interesting training cycle, and I needed to apologize for laughing at her. Also, I needed to figure out how to fight someone who could fold my weapons like origami. Also, I needed to update my will, because something told me the next few months were going to be absolutely terrifying. Human Lieutenant Maya Reeves, the supposedly weak and fragile new species, had just demonstrated that everything we thought we knew was hilariously, catastrophically wrong. The worst part, she had not even been trying. 3 weeks later, I was hiding in a supply closet. Yes, you read that correctly. Krellel of the Vexian Honor Guard, decorated warrior, 3rd-ranked combatant in the entire academy, was hiding in a closet like a frightened hatchling. Why, you ask? Because Lieutenant Maya Reeves had just announced she wanted a sparring partner, and I had learned my lesson about volunteering for things involving humans. Let me back up and explain what the last 3 weeks had been like. Actually, let me be more specific. Let me explain what fresh nightmare had become our daily existence. After the sword-folding incident, which was now referred to as the incident in hushed whispers, Vor had done what any reasonable training commander would do. He assumed Maya was some kind of specialized human super soldier, an augmented warrior sent to make a point. He was wrong. Turns out Maya was completely average by human standards, maybe slightly above average in fitness, but nothing exceptional among her own people. When Vor accessed the extended human database, which apparently took a formal request through Coalition Command, he discovered something absolutely horrifying. Humans were just like that, all of them. The entire species had something called hysterical strength, where their limiters, yes, they have biological limiters on their own muscles, because otherwise they would tear themselves apart, could be temporarily overridden. During stress, they had redundant organs. They could survive injuries that would kill most species. They healed from damage that should be permanent. And they did not even think this was particularly special, so Vor, clearly having some kind of existential crisis, decided to treat Maya like any other trainee, which meant she participated in every single exercise, every drill, every simulation, This went about as well as you would expect. Day 4. Hand-to-hand combat training. Maya accidentally threw Thorax through reinforced wall. He survived barely and now flinched whenever she walked past. Day 7. Endurance testing. The course was designed for Crosons who could run for 72 hours straight. Maya finished it. Record time, then asked if there was the advanced do version because she was not even breathing hard. Day 11. Tactical simulation. We were supposed to escape locked room using available tools. Maya looked at the reinforced door for exactly 8 seconds, then punched through it. The door was 6 in of composite armor plating. The medical drones were working overtime, but here is the thing that really messed with my head. Maya was nice. She was friendly, apologetic when she accidentally injured someone, and genuinely seemed confused about why we were all terrified of her. After she sent Zyla to medical with 3 fractured tentacles during a grappling exercise, Maya visited her every single day, bringing something called chocolate, which apparently humans used as medicine. Zyla now followed Maya around like an imprinted hatchling. Grunt, who had challenged Maya to a strength contest and lost so badly he had to recalibrate his entire sense of self-worth, now insisted on training with her every morning. They were friends now. They shared meal rations and everything. Even Thorax, after his wall incident, had admitted grudging respect. He still flinched, but it was respectful flinching. Me, I was having a full identity crisis. See, I had spent my entire life being good at combat. It was not just a skill, it was who I was. Vexian honor, family tradition, all of that. I was supposed to be exceptional. Then this human showed up and made me feel like a juvenile playing with toy weapons. So yes, I was hiding in a supply closet because Maya had casually mentioned she wanted to practice defensive techniques, and everyone else had suddenly remembered important appointments elsewhere. The closet door opened. Maya stood there holding a data pad, looking amused. Krello, the occupancy sensors showed someone in here. Are you okay? I considered lying. I considered pretending I was doing equipment inventory instead, because apparently stress makes me honest. I just told the truth. I'm avoiding you. She blinked. Why? Because you are terrifying. Maya actually laughed at this, not a mocking laugh, but genuine amusement. Krello, I am 56 and weigh 140 lb. You are literally twice my size. You folded a Durax steel sword like it was paper. That was an accident. You put Thorax through a wall. He said he could take it. You broke a combat door with your bare hands. It was poorly designed. Maya paused. Okay, that one might be on me. I emerged from the closet, all 4 arms crossed in what I hoped was a dignified manner. You do not understand. My entire species prides itself on combat prowess. We have trained for thousands of years, and you just casually, without even trying, exceed everything we have accomplished. Maya's expression shifted, then becoming more serious. Krello, can I tell you something? Human to Vexian, I suppose. She leaned against the wall, looking suddenly tired. You know what humans are really good at? Not being the best. We are okay at lots of things, but we are not the strongest or the smartest or the fastest. We just keep going. We adapt. We survive. You are absolutely the strongest. By what metric? Grunt can lift more than me in raw weight. Zyla has better grip strength with her tentacles. Thorax has natural weapons. I Will never have, she shrugged. I am just strong for a human. That does not make me special. I stared at her. Maya, you destroyed military equipment without effort because your military equipment is not designed for species with our muscle density and skeletal structure. It is optimized for you, not for us. She pulled up something on her data pad. Look, I had to review this for my own understanding. Human muscles are weird. We have really dense, fast twitch fibers, and our tendons store energy differently than most species, combined with our bone structure and the fact that our brains will let us push past safe limits when necessary. We can generate really high force for short periods. That sounds exceptionally dangerous. Oh, it absolutely is. Humans injure themselves constantly doing stupid things. We tear muscles, break bones, dislocate joints, all because our bodies will let us exceed safe parameters. She smiled wryly. We are basically designed by evolution to be too stubborn to die. Something about the way she said it made me reconsider everything. You are not trying to humiliate us. What? No, Krell, I'm trying to pass training. I have been absolutely terrified since I got here. She gestured emphatically. You are all incredible. Thorax has reflexes I cannot match. Zyla can think in three-dimensional combat scenarios I still struggle with. You have 4 arms. Do you know how much I would love to have 4 arms? Then why do you seem so calm? Because panicking does not help. Maya laughed again. Shorter this time. Humans have this saying, fake it until you make it. I am faking confidence really hard here. Krell, I processed this for a long moment. You were afraid when you chose to fight me, absolutely terrified. I thought you were going to turn me into Vexian jam. She shook her head. But my instructor on Earth told me that in any new situation, establish dominance early, so I picked the scariest looking warrior in the room and hoped for the best. That is insane. Yeah, humans do that a lot. We stood there in companionable silence for a moment. Then Maya held out her hand, palm up, in what I had learned was a human greeting gesture. Friends, she asked. I promised to try really hard not to accidentally break you. I looked at her hand, then at her face. She was serious. This terrifying warrior who had turned our entire cohort upside down just wanted to be friends. I reached out with my primary right hand and gently clasped hers. Friends, but I reserve the right to maintain a healthy fear of you. That is probably wise. Over the next few weeks, something strange happened. We all stopped being afraid and started being curious. Maya became less of a threat and more of a puzzle we were trying to solve. Thorax started studying human combat techniques, fascinated by how they compensated for having only 2 arms. He developed a new fighting style that incorporated human grappling with Mandorian striking, and it was actually brilliant. Zyla researched human chemical biology and became obsessed with their medical resilience. She started writing a paper comparing human healing factors to Octavian regeneration. It was genuinely groundbreaking work. Grunt and Maya developed a training routine that pushed both of them past their normal limits. Grunt actually started gaining muscle mass, which Crosons typically could not do after maturity. Maya learned how to better control her strength output, and me, I trained with Maya every morning. She taught me human defensive techniques, things that did not rely on raw strength but on leverage and momentum. I taught her. Vexian blade forms adapted for 2 arms. Instead of 4, we made each other better. The final examination came on. Week 12, we were all gathered in combat. Arena 1, the largest facility for the traditional cohort tournament. Every trainee would face multiple opponents in succession, testing everything we had learned. Vorth stood in the center, his crystalline body reflecting the arena. Lights in dazzling patterns. This tournament will determine your final rankings and placements. Fight with honor begin. The matches were brutal. Thorax fought with his new hybrid style, earning victories against opponents who should have destroyed him. Xyla used tactical thinking to overcome pure strength differences. Grunt was well grunt, which meant he mostly just crashed through problems. Then it was Maya's turn. She faced 5 opponents in succession, each one more challenging than the last, and something beautiful happened. She did not just overpower them with raw human durability. She used technique, strategy, adaptation, everything we had all taught each other over the past 3 months. When she faced her final opponent, a Selenite warrior named Prize, who was ranked first in our cohort, the entire complex went silent. Prize was good, really good. He had crystalline blades that could extend from his arms, refracting laser precision and defensive capabilities that made him nearly untouchable. The match lasted 17 minutes. Maya did not win by breaking him. She won by exhausting him using defensive techniques I had taught her. Mobility patterns from Thorax, tactical positioning from Xyla, and sheer stubborn endurance that was purely human. When Prize finally yielded, collapsing from exhaustion, Maya helped him up. The arena erupted in cheers from every species present. Vorth approached Maya as we all assembled for final rankings. His internal light was pulsing in a pattern I had never seen before. Lieutenant Reeves, his voice resonated with something that might have been respect. You have completed training with the highest combat scores in this facility's history. Maya stood at attention. Thank you, sir. You have also hospitalized more fellow trainees than any single individual in the past 50 cycles. I am so sorry about that, sir. Boars. Light patterns shifted to what might have been amusement. They all survived. Some became better warriors for it. You have taught this cohort something valuable. Human. Sir, that strength alone does not make a warrior. That adapting, persisting, and supporting your team matters more than individual capability. Vor turned to address all of us. This cohort has achieved something remarkable. You did not just train together, you learned from each other, compensated for each other's weaknesses, and became stronger as a unit. He looked back at Maya. Humans are not superior warriors, but you might be the best teammates the coalition has ever recruited. Later, after the ceremony, after the congratulations and the medical checkups and the formal photographs, our cohort gathered in the common area one final time. So Thorax clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. What did we learn? That humans are terrifying. Xyla offered that equipment specifications need updating. I added that tiny human strong grunt said solemnly. Maya laughed, that same genuine laugh from the supply closet. You know what I learned? That every species has something incredible to offer. That being different does not mean being better or worse, and that sometimes the best way to understand someone is to get absolutely destroyed by them in combat and then become Friends. Profound, Thorax said dryly. Very inspirational. I am putting that on a motivation poster, Zyla announced. We all laughed. Then all of us, different species with different biologies and different backgrounds, united by shared experience and mutual respect. 3 months ago I thought Maya Reeves was going to die within a week. Instead, she taught me that strength comes in forms I never expected, that weakness is just perspective, and that sometimes the most terrifying warriors are the ones who smile while folding your weapons into geometric shapes. Also, I learned to never ever laugh at a human. They remember, and they are way stronger than